we had a question on social media about what pressure washer that we use, and ours is from PEM. We have a couple different pressure washers from them, both the same style. Just as we've grown, we've gotten more from them. Always worked really well for us. So for our pre-treatment, it would be similar to how we do spray powder, so we're spraying to waste essentially. There's quite a few job shops that actually will reclaim their wastewater and feed it back through, even in like a pressure washer type system that's still manual, which I don't quite understand that. I've talked to some people about it that had questions because they feel like it's really difficult to maintain, which I think it definitely would be. I don't know why in a job shop you would want to recycle your water when you're doing it with a spray wand. If you have an automated line, I can understand recycling it because it's kind of set up for that. But if you're just doing a job shop and you don't do any pre-treatment now and you want to start doing pre-treatment, I feel like these are pretty economical depending on the size of company you are. You can get a hold of PEM, talk to Kelly McCabe or Brad Lieberman, and they can get you a quote on a unit. They have a couple different styles, but this is the main one that they sell. Essentially, it's just a pressure washer that has a heated coil, so we can heat the water however much we want depending on the temperature dial. So you hook up water to it, you hook up natural gas to it, and then you're good to go. As far as the pre-treatment is concerned, like what chemicals can you run through it and how does that work? They have right down here is the chemical injector system. So high pressure water comes through here. So we have two wands that are hooked up in the wash bay. We use one for our degreaser and then one for our conversion coating, like an iron phosphate. And so these tiny tubes go back into the chemical drums and they actually pull chemical into the line. There's a setup on the gun that will show you on the pressure washer gun where you can push a plunger one way and you'll just get water, or you can pull the plunger out and then it'll change the pressure differential, so it'll actually start sucking chemical through. So the chemical doesn't mix in until right here and then goes down the hoses. The chemical doesn't actually go through the coil of the pressure washer. Chemical doesn't go through any of the inner workings of the pressure washer. Only city water does, which is why I really like it, because then the unit just doesn't wear out, versus other applications where people are using something similar to this, but they're reclaiming the wastewater, and so then that's got acid that's coming through, and then you gotta neutralize it, and then it's going back through the machine. I feel like that'd be really hard on the machine. I know that there's probably ones out there that can take care of it, but for a manual job shop application, it doesn't make a lot of sense. The reason why some people might do that is because of the wastewater. If you have really strict regulations in your area, maybe you can't just let all that water and chemical and grease and oil off the parts go to just the city drain. We're able to do that where we're at. We just have to make sure that we treat our wastewater as it's going out, meaning that we get the pH in the right level so it's not too acidic and it's also not too basic. All the chemicals we use are safe to go into the water system. They don't have any heavy metals or anything like that, and all of the parts that we do don't have heavy metals that we're leaching off and then going down the drain. So that's why this works well for us, because we just have to pay attention to the pH, and as long as the pH is good, then you're good to go. So in terms of how we control the pH, there is a pump over on this side. So these pumps constantly run when you're on the trigger. One pumps neutralizer and then one pumps a coil conditioner. So essentially what those tiny pumps do is it brings coil conditioner and mixes it in with the water to make sure that you don't corrode up the coil essentially, and then the neutralizer just spins and that goes into our city drain, which we have where we're at. We have a sump pump that has to pump it across the shop and then it goes to the city drain. So we kind of have all of our wastewater go in a sump pump area, and that's where the neutralizer goes in, and that allows us to get the pH where we want it to be before it actually goes to drain. So this is the actual wand itself. The blue hose that we saw coming out of the pressure washer hooks right up to this. Depending on where this plunger is sitting is if you'll get chemical or not. So if you push this in, it blocks this bottom portion off, so you only have coming out of the top nozzle, so that's water. It's at really high pressure, Since it's at such high pressure and a lower flow rate, since this is pushed in, it won't draw any chemicals through that injector, so you would use that for a rinse mode. If you want to get chemical, it's as simple as just pulling out the plunger. So now you have 2 streams of water coming through here. The pressure has dropped, so now that injector that we saw that sits at the pressure washer actually starts drawing chemical through there because of the pressure difference that we created. And so coming out of both of these is a mixture of water and chemical. So it's not that like one is water and one is chemical. They're both a mixture because the water chemical mixture is coming up the line, speeding out both ends.